After a dominating win against the Badgers, the Falcon Boys found themselves at the top of the week, preparing for a familiar foe. This matchup would come along with some history, as the Falcon Boys were no stranger to the Apex Predators. After a tough matchup last season that involved dynamic plays from both teams, the Falcon Boys found a way to put themselves in a position to win.
Yeah, so when you get the chance to be up there with the starters, you gotta fucking care. You can't just come out here and go through the motions. If that's what you're gonna do, you're gonna continually be on the sidelines. Yeah.
I just don't like the fact that when they get these chances, they bullshit with them, and then they have their parents hot with us. You know what I mean?
Jordan,
it's like, did you tell them that you got your opportunity at practice and you bullshitted, and you didn't take advantage of it? You didn't go make the most of your opportunity?
Well, and the hardest part is you sit here and you look at the sidelines, and the parents aren't here, so they're relying on the
That's
words of a
what
child.
I'm saying. So, and in the days that they are here,
The days that they are here,
All right, whistle.
catching that broadcast. The days that they are here, then they're expecting a certain kind of playing time.
and it's like, even like I was saying with Jeremiah, I'm like I told him, bro, you giving the job up easy. We got people missing today. We letting you start. You can't be dropping passes, bro. That's how you capitalize on getting your PT. You know what I mean?
The Falcon Boys would have to understand the Predators would be playing with a chip on their shoulders. In addition, they'll be playing against a former teammate, an individual who was pivotal to the contributions of the team's efforts last year. At quarterback, they'll be playing against someone that they were familiar with, a star in his own right, an individual they had an opportunity to play alongside with in the 7-on-7 season, which ultimately resulted in the championship just a few weeks ago. Will the Falcon Boys be able to separate friendship from football? These young men would have to be up for the task. Unlike last season, there were still a few question marks around the depth chart. With a few additions to the defense, the coaches found themselves in a situation of making sure the boys were able to comprehend and play the defensive schemes that were needed in order to stop the Predators.
I think the boys are having fun this season thus far. I think they developed a lot of new friendships this year, a lot of new players. We don't have the luxury of recruiting the best kids in the city, so we got to recruit whatever we get. We got big expectations. There's always a championship or bust with us, So if we don't get that championship, we felt like we bust, and that's in every age group, not just 12U.
But the Sundevils were in good hands, as their veteran talent has shown the ability in the past to be able to stop them. There was no question that these boys were going to show up and leave it all on the field Saturday. From the kickoff, Tony Spann showed that he was ready to show up and do what he does week after week, make electrifying plays, and put his team in position to be able to win. Early on, the Predators showed that they were going to play a physical game and load the box. But the Sundevils weren't deterred. Utilizing their backfield, they ran it right up the tackles, play after play. walking back to the sideline down 7, the fucking Boyz offense would have to come out on the field and make a play. The Sundevils found themselves making another critical mistake and turning over the ball yet again. This time, the Predators were determined to do something with this opportunity. Will the offense be able to sustain a series of plays to put themselves in position to tie up the game before the half? Going into halftime, the Forkham Boyz found themselves down. And while the game was still in reach, the Forkham Boyz would have to dig deep to find whatever was missing in the first half and make the corrections necessary to put themselves in a position to walk away with the dub. After a late touchdown in the fourth quarter, the Forkham Boyz found themselves in a one-possession game. The defense stepped on the field with a renewed energy, knowing they had an opportunity to put victory in their grasp. big key play on the fourth down, the Predators put the game away. The sting the Sundevils are feeling today, they would have to hold on to and hope they get an opportunity to meet this team again in the playoffs. In football, you got to quickly learn from your defeats and be able to apply them to the next week, as there's no time to sit around and mourn and feel bad for yourselves. The Sundevils would have to shift their focus to Foothill.
The Apex game, to come out of the Apex game, it shouldn't have been what it came out to be. I feel like we did prepare for that game pretty well, mentally and physically. We did come up short though, of course, which was kind of hurtful. It was personal to me and to the players. I know we wanted to see a different outcome with that game. We definitely wanted to win that one. Shit, we got a player over there that left from from being on our roster to being added to theirs. So we definitely wanted to prove not only to ourselves and the parents and the spectators, but also to the Apex and to the kid that's no longer with us that wasn't the right choice. Not out of spite, but just as a coach, as a player, that's how you should feel in those type of situations. And I definitely felt that way, and I know there was a couple others that did.
The Apex game, man, was a tough one. I think the boys, we had some positive takeaways, right? I think they really put themselves in the fighting position to the end. It's unfortunate to see, the same errors plague us, right? When we look at Apex in particular, red zone turnovers. Again, you can't play a team with that caliber and that talent and expect to come out winning when you shoot yourself in the foot, right? And we seem to do a lot of that in some of these critical moments, right? My boy was over there, man. He ended up getting in the play at the very end on us. Made sure we felt his presence, and we appreciate it. We appreciate it. Makes us hungry. Makes our boys' team work. You feel me? Outside of that, really just with that game, it's a couple different pieces this season. A couple different pieces that we really putting together on the fly. I think one of the things that really kind of impacts our camp is not just the continuity of different players, but really from a coaching staff perspective, right? You got a group of men out here, trying to figure out how to communicate with each other, right? Trying to make sure that their opinions are heard and make sure from a coaching perspective that they are giving their input and that's a valuable contribution to the team. And with that, sometimes there's some opportunities on what that looks like. What does that transition look like? How do you approach the next man and let them know that, I don't think you're wrong, but I think my approach might be a better one. And I think that's something that, I'm going to continue to encourage amongst the coaching staff is, how do we hold each other accountable? How do we communicate, our thoughts? You feel me? I feel like, it's been an opportunity for us, right? And everybody knows I'm going to call it as it is. I'm going to call it straight out. I'm going to be the one that always encourages us to be vocal. You know what I'm saying? Because when I look around, the men that out here, doing this coaching, we all approachable. You know what I'm saying? We all fathers. We all, at the end of the day, we all dedicating our time.
It left a little salty taste. The score didn't really show the true game. It was 24-8. I think they scored with like 2 or 3 minutes left. It was 16-8 most of the game. We had some costly turnovers. Not trying to take nothing away from Apex. They're a good team. I think we executed good that game, though. We came out with a different defense, a different strategy that game, and that was our first time putting it on the field to see what it looked like. And they played it well, And now I think going forward with them playing in that, defense for a couple of games, I think they'll play even better, come next time we see Apex.
Going into this week's practice, the Falcon boys are just focused on improving. As their players continue to build confidence and experience, it was just a matter of time of putting the pieces together. And this week's focus was progression.
I don't think the teams we've been losing to lately are better than us. I think they're just more hungry. I don't even think they're more disciplined. I think they're more hungry, which comes off as discipline, so I would give that to them. I just think they're more hungry, and it's been real hard trying to get these kids to self-motivate. We can only win it so much as coaches and push them so hard. especially with kids that, you know, we don't parent and take care of at home. It's only so much discipline and push you could put on a kid until it might be going overboard, if that makes sense. So with that being said, we're just trying to change the narrative on pushing yourself and wanting it yourself, being hungry for it, because that's the difference, I think, in the games that we're losing to some of these teams that we playing that aren't as talented as us, or that have as much talent on their roster as we do. Because when you you compare the rosters, we should be blowing these teams up.
You know, back to communication just amongst the coaches. When we look at, our halftime adjustments, in these dynamic games where we're playing, where it's coming down to the wire, where, coach for coach we match, player for player we match, it's going to come down to who makes the best adjustment, who's able to listen to their players on the field and understand what's going on and be able to translate that into something that says, hey, this is how we're going to approach it, this is how we're going to attack it. And I think, as we continue to improve our communication, we're going to be able to trust what we're seeing. Not only what we're seeing, but be able to relay with the players and telling us this, and make them adjustments on the win, because a lot of these losses, man, we're going into halftime, either up or neck and neck. You know what I'm saying? So we really got to find a way to make sure our boys, they're not finding themselves in that slump in the third quarter and transitioning that to the fourth.
Going into Saturday, the Sundevils were looking to let off some steam from the previous week. The Sundevils were making it obvious they had a point to prove. Cam left a trail of bodies on his way to the end zone. However, the Sundevils weren't going to solely rely on their ground game. With an opportunity to get behind the center, Mace took advantage, throwing a touchdown to one-take son. Tony was determined to have a party on both sides of the field, forcing the turnover and finding himself in the end zone yet again. Coach D was determined to open up the playbook, and utilizing the creativity and the skill sets that were at our disposal, GVK had an opportunity to throw a pass to Wack, which resulted in a touchdown. It was obvious this game was quickly getting out of hand. The Sundevils were not going to leave it up to anybody other than themselves to go out there and do exactly what they came to do. These boys were not discouraged from their ultimate goal. The fucking boys continue to focus on plugging pieces in and making the boys better day in and day out. Recognizing that the playoffs were just around the corner, they knew they'd be able to get an opportunity to show the city what they already knew.
Tony! Oh, yeah. You know what it mean when you see them pitchforks, baby.
What that mean?
It means Sundevils season, baby.